I'm expecting from some of you to know about blockchain. So any one of you who can tell me about some thing about blockchain that he might have heard or she might have heard or know or worked before, you can just open your mic and let me know. Let us make it interactive session so that nobody gets bored. Okay. So anyone?
Hello everyone. You can also use the chat section, like if your mics are not working in case and you don't feel comfortable speaking up, right front. So you can probably use the chat section also to just tell us something about like what you know about blockchain.
Yes. Just let me know. कुछ भी लिख दो यार थोड़ा. Okay, returns. If you see, like you can take any like nowadays we don't have currencies like Bitcoin and Dogecoin. They are only for the monetary purposes. Now today we have uh, development currencies. So through which you can develop things like websites, apps, games. For example, Ethereum. Ethereum is a development currency. You can develop things from it. So and as people are investing in it and people are integrating it with their technologies or their businesses, it's getting their price up and everybody's investing, so it's getting big. For example, uh, if you see, in December, I think I was talking with Aman and all, the market cap of uh, decentralized finance, that means cryptocurrencies, market cap, daily market cap was around $14 billion. Okay. And if you see now, you can see the daily market cap of decentralized finance is $66 billion. So, yeah, you can see what amount of profit you would have gained if you have invested in it. So, yeah, it's good, but yes, think wisely before investing. Okay. What different crypto we have? Different crypto have different mineable limits. Yes, every cryptocurrency have different mineable limits. Not every has 8 billion coins. So, yes. So, should we move ahead? Okay, great. Blockchain protocols. So we have two types of blockchain basically. Aman, can you please change the slide? Uh, like any other slide about revise and all. Yes, now let's discuss. So blockchain has two types of blockchain contains two type of blockchain. There is public and there is private. So what's public blockchain? Let us see first. Uh, our Bitcoin is a public blockchain, or Ethereum is a public blockchain. Any type of blockchain that can be seen and which has open transactions is a public blockchain. In a public blockchain, you can see all the transactions which have happened over the years. For example, you can see and search all the transactions that has happened in Bitcoin since the starting of it. Okay, you have watched it. Does crypto also depend on demand and supply? Yes, it's the main concept of deciding a cryptocurrency's price. It's demand and supply. So, about that public blockchain. So, any currency of which you can see the ledger is public blockchain. You can see the starting transactions from it. Okay, so that's public blockchain, and public blockchain are being used in many fields, basically web development, app development, game development, and that all. So it's quite useful, and it makes it safer, securer, and easier for people to manage. So you can search about Ethereum. It's really good framework for developing websites and apps. It's really good. And let's discuss about private blockchain. We will come back to Ethereum development and all. I will give you a gist. So let's go to private blockchain. What are private blockchains? So when the in around I think 2016, we had a public blockchain only. So there came a need that we should have something that could be regulated by not a person but a system or a group of peoples that can be responsible for doing things in a network. So people created private blockchain. So the main and the major network that provides private blockchain frameworks is Hyperledger. Hyperledger is a project led by Linux Foundation and IBM. So they have created many solutions. So they are really good. So big biggest I should say like Fortune 500 companies are using Hyperledger as their main management system. For example, Walmart has a supply chain system of from Hyperledger Fabric, and Unilever has it, Nestle has it, and if I say JP Morgan has its own blockchain network and its own cryptocurrency for dealing with its daughter companies and all of its business partners and all. So yes, blockchain is booming right now. You could go in it and work your way through it because what is the use of private blockchain? Private blockchain is basically used in enterprises for creating their own networks so they can manage their companies, their supply chains, their employees and all. Because if we use blockchain in a company, you can see it's transparent. So nobody will have the problem of corruption and all. Nobody could do black marketing things in a company. And above all, it requires a lower cost because you need less supervisors seeing and supervising the supply chain. So it reduces the cost of management and more like it. It also uh, it also easily manages your books and ledgers that you have to create. So it does many things that are not normally possible with a primitive approach. So that's what is the use of blockchain in private blockchain. And many of the banks are using private blockchain as their networks. Many of the European banks are involved. Citibank is involved in it. So yes, is it clear? Let us move on. I will like in public blockchain, everyone has the access, but in private, only the particular company has the access. No, it's like a private blockchain is created specifically for an enterprise. Nobody other than the enterprise and its employee has to do anything with it. So it's like it's made for a company and everyone has their own roles. Like Abhishek Saraswat, you are the CEO, so you will have the admin role in that blockchain, and you would be able to connect to everyone. And if any of you are might be employees, so employees have another employee role, so they might not have the privilege that you are granted. So it's like that, but you can search and you can see all the things that are happening in a company at low level which are not possible through the primitive way because a CEO is not that free to see and not that he doesn't have that much of a time to see everyone what they are doing, so many things might happen during that time. So, yes, is it yeah. If it's clear we can move on to next. Okay, I will take that as a yes. Okay, so blockchain components are complete. Aman, okay. What are the components of a blockchain that are in a technical aspect? In a technical aspects, blockchain has three concepts, three components: blocks, nodes, and miners. So, what are blocks? Blocks are blocks are nothing but blocks are the representation of a group of transactions that have been verified by the miners. So what is it? So what happens is, let's first understand what are miners. Okay, so what are miners? Miners are the people which verify the transactions that are being done in the network. So uh, miners basically like in Bitcoin network. Okay, what is happening is like there have 10 transactions are made. In 10 transactions, in one of them, one Bitcoin was sent, and in, in another one, 2 Bitcoin was received. So like that 10 transactions were made. So we don't know if those transactions were right or wrong. So what we have is we have those miners verify these transactions. So what will happen is a miner will verify each transaction, and if a miner verifies 10 transactions in a row, he creates a block and he gets 1 Bitcoin as an incentive. Okay, is it good? I mean, did you understand it? Anyone? Okay. Okay, let's start it once again. What is happening is a miner is a computer or the person which verifies transactions. Okay, and how transactions verified? Transactions are verified through a consensus algorithm. And let's learn about what is a consensus algorithm if you all are interested. What happens is uh, a miner basically solves a problem statement. Like we learned about cryptographic algorithm, decrypting that cryptographic algorithm is the problem statement that we use in a Bitcoin. Okay, if a miner decrypts that hash, if a miner decrypts that hash, then he verifies that transaction. Okay, uh, I am I clear till here?
Yes, yes, yes. Clear,
Okay,
clear.
so if a miner decrypts that hash, he verifies one transaction. So like that, if one miner uh, decrypts 10 hash values and thus verifying 10 transactions, those 10 transactions are bundled up in one block, and then the miner gets 1 Bitcoin as an incentive. What is hash? Hash is the encrypted value of one transaction. So, is it clear how blocks are made and what blocks are?
Yes.
What happens if one miner verifies and the other one rejects it? Uh, no one rejects it. Like if you are mining a block, you are mining it for incentives. So no one rejects it, and there is no option for rejecting it. Either you can mine or you can't mine. That's the thing. So only programmers can be miners because not everyone has the can decrypt an algorithm without a vast amount of knowledge. I think. No, anyone can be a miner. Even you can be a miner. You just need hefty amount of money and some really good hardware because it takes a lot of computational power for someone to mine a block in Bitcoin network. There are many types of problem statement, but specifically for Bitcoin, you have to decrypt the algorithm. And for decrypting, you have mining software. You just need a good piece of hardware, and you can just mine. Uh, do two miners minus same problem state. Yes, every miners mines the same problem state. Every miner. Any more doubts about it? Because I know it's a bit confusing, but you can ask anything. If yes, then who gets the Bitcoin? This is a very, very good question. So, so if the two miners mine the coins, mine the coins in at the same time at the same second, there can be a possibility because there are 8 million bitcoins. So let's say two miners mine mines a block at the same time. So what will happen is it will create two blocks and extending the chain. So there will be two blocks in a row. Okay. So what will happen when so there will be a two-way chain coming from, and when the next one mines it, it will attach to one block. So what is going to happen is after which the longer chain, which will be the longer chain, it will continue. So there will be a branched block. So are you getting my point? There will be a branched block from the chain. And I think Pratyush Bajaj meant is to do 2 minus minus the same problem. The problem statement is same, but the transactions which are decrypted and the hash they are given are different. So they will be mining like two separate blocks. Okay. Is it good? Who gives the Bitcoin to the miners? The system guild gives. It is programmed in a way, blockchain is programmed in a way, if you are contributing to the network, you get the incentives. Not only in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in Polkadot, in any of the cryptocurrency, if you mine it, you get the incentives from it. Yes. So Bitcoin works on proof of work algorithm. Like in Bitcoin, like I said, there are they will like first what proof of work is. Proof of work is consensus algorithm. Every blockchain network works on different consensus algorithm. For example, Bitcoin works on proof of work. Why it is called proof of work? Because as you see, you have to use a very hefty and very it is a very power extensive approach. So you are doing a lot of work in it. So it's called proof of work. For example, if you see, there are many blockchains working on proof of stake. What is a proof of stake? In proof of stake, if a person holds 50% of the cryptocurrencies in that cryptocurrency network, then he will get the incentive 50% of the time. So there are many consensus algorithms, or you can say there are many problem statements for in different networks for miners to mine and get the incentive. They will always mine they will always mine two separate, or they can mine same. And if one mines lower, mines it slower, all his work will go to waste. No, it is like if a person is mining one transaction is basically decrypting a hash, it will be of different transaction, and the other one who is decrypting a hash will be of other transaction. So if the other one does it first, doesn't mean your work will go to waste. You will complete the work, and as you complete the work, you will get the incentive. Okay, and it is not like you get one block at a time. It's like the amount of like you have mined 0.001 block Bitcoin, so you will get the amount of it. It's not like you have to mine the whole block, then you will get it, because for an average computer to mine a blockchain Bitcoin in its network will take around 5 to 6 years. So they will not get the same hash rate. Yes, they will not get the same. Hardware requirements. Hardware requirements are pretty high for mining. Basically, you require ASIC cards. Okay, so you can search about all the AMD cards are ASIC cards. So you can mine on AMD. You can mine on NVIDIA also, but NVIDIA doesn't give that amount of transact hashes per second for you to do this. Is there no. Yes, yes, you can. Is there possibility of both of them to reach the same hash? No, there is no possibility for both of them to reach the same hash. Any more questions? So can 10 miners together mine a single Bitcoin? You can say that, because if one miners mine one, it is not like every miners mine different Bitcoin. Okay, you mine a single hash and other one mines a single hash. When 10 transactions are mined, they are mined and one block is made. Okay. Okay. So Let's move on to blockchain now. So we have learned about Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is quite primitive. It's the network it is using. It's quite old, so nobody talks about Bitcoin nowadays. It's outdated. So what the current technologies we are using in blockchain are these. Like we have smart contracts, hyperledger, smart contracts, supply chain management systems, and all. I mean, can you move the slide? Hmm. So these are the things that we are using in blockchain right now. In blockchain, we have cross-border payments. For example, like how many have you made international payments through your debit card or credit card, anything? Guys, please answer. Don't make this boring for me and you.
I think nobody here.
Okay. So if you ever, yes, Prakhar, so if you ever make international transactions with your debit card and credit, you see, you will be charged with a very good amount of transaction fee generally. So and most obviously in the larger transactions, so they charge a very big amount. So if what blockchain does is you don't have to pay that much amount in the international payments. Basically, you don't pay anything only for cross-border payments. So it's very good to use blockchain, and that's why major governments are not preferring it because that will be a very great and loss for them. So if you do payments in cryptocurrency, you don't have to pay that price, the taxes that you generally pay. Smart contracts, okay. Anybody, no transaction. Yes, cryptocurrency do not have any transaction charges. They have transaction charges, but it is just calculated. Well, if you want to send 100 rupees in cryptocurrency, you will still be charged the same. That will be the amount that will be related to a separate cryptocurrency. For example, in Ethereum, if you are paying, you will only pay 40 rupees. 40 rupees. If you are paying 100 rupees, then also you will have to pay 40 rupees. Or if you are paying 100 crore also, then you will only have to pay 40 rupees. So there's nothing like you will be charged extra. Uh, yes, it has been used in illegal purposes. Basically, Bitcoin. If we see from around 2 to 3 years back, if we go, Bitcoins were used for transactions in deep web and illegal activities. But every good thing has a bad side. So you can say where are Bitcoin stored? Bitcoins and all the cryptocurrencies have their own wallets you can do to store them. But one negative point of blockchain tech can be it can promote territory. No, you can't say that because the transactions are all the transactions are transparent and nobody does transactions in Bitcoin. And what do you think? The transactions can't be made without Bitcoin and all. It doesn't make it easier for them. It's just it is also a mode of payment. Like if I say so, people do these transactions and these negative things of in the form of diamonds and precious jewels. So you can't ban them. Yeah, I don't think that's a negative point of it. You can see like everything has got a negative point. You can use a gun for self-defense also and for offensive purposes also. It's not like that. Okay, like blockchain holds data and all, and Bitcoin is a component of blockchain. So mining Bitcoin is indirectly mining someone's data. No. So in Bitcoin network doesn't hold any data. No data is held in Bitcoin. Bitcoin only holds your transactions. Okay. And for the blockchain networks that hold data, you are in that blockchain. Uh, when you are in a network that holds data, you are not mining it. And if also you are mining it, you are not seeing their data, you are just encrypting it. Okay. So it's like that. Bitcoin is not a legal tender of money, but it's not also illegal. The ban was lifted 3 years ago. Uh, Please explain something about smart contracts. So what are smart contracts? So like till now, what we did was in the backend, you made scripts from Java or anything like Rust, Go, and many their languages. You made scripts for what will happen if a request is coming from front end. How will you process it and how will you send the request back, right? That's how it was done. So in blockchain what we do is we don't have anything else, we create smart contracts for each page. What will happen is if a request is coming from the front end, it will be processed through smart contracts. What will happen is in smart contracts, it will calculate the amount of processing power you used in processing that particular request and will send the request back to you and will use that amount of cryptocurrency from your wallet. And that's how today's currency, mostly Ethereum, works. What is happening is a request will come from front end. The smart contract will process it and it will send back the request like a normal site. But at the back end, what happens is it has calculated the amount of processing power that particular request used. It will take that amount of Ethereum from your wallet and will send it to the user, or you can say miner of the Ethereum network that gave that processing power to your system. That's the node that's been mining. That's what I said. Like in Ethereum, we are using data. So they are not mining, they are not basically decrypting things. They are providing that processing power for the smart contract to process that request. And in exchange of that, the amount of uh, power used will be incentivized in the form of Ethereum. So you will also gain money. Is it clear? Yes, good. Pratish Bajaj asked if it only holds data, what part of it is secure and private if everything is transparent? See, like what I told you about Ethereum. So what is happening is there are number of nodes that are mining, that are providing the processing power for the system to process things. And for the database in Ethereum, you can use a normal database or a distributed normal database. In the distributed database in which blockchain is used, you see the data is held by many system or the cloud systems or the clusters that we made from Kubernetes and all. The data is held by hundreds and thousands of machines. So if a single person's data is stored in 1,000 machines, it can't be opened by a single system or a single party if also he gets the hand in on a part of it. Are you seeing the thing here? Like from Pratyush, I got 1 GB data and I stored it on a distributed server. So what is happening is that 1 GB of data would be distributed in KBs, and that each part of that data which is distributed in KBs will now be encrypted and stored in different systems. So if anyone also got their hand on 50% of it, they will not be able to assemble it. You are seeing the thing here. They can only see that the data is gone there, but you can see what's in. So it's very, very secure. Like till now, what we are doing is we are storing our data on a single server or a single database. So what's happening is it's like you have a treasure box which has your which contains all your precious things, and you have kept it in your I say in somebody unknown's house, and you have given him the key, and you say please don't see in it. Why won't he? So and all in blockchain also, you don't give it's not their key to open your box. You hold the public or encryption and the decryption key, so they can't also they can't decrypt it. Only you can decrypt it when the data come back to you. You use the decryption key, then the data assembles and decrypts. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Smart contracts clear are clear. How why what are smart contracts or what are
Yes, yes.
okay. So next, let's move on to the next slide. What are the next steps? How to study and from where to study? Okay, so blockchain. What you have heard about? Now I have given you a gist about blockchain. What's going on in there? So what do you think about it? Like, is it useful? Is it like okay, or it's not that good? It's good
I
from a consumer perspective, but uh,
I think it's just okay.
okay. So can you explain me why you think it's okay? Like I'm not. It's your opinion. So can I hear it?
If it's just for security and privacy, the technology has now far better options for that.
Uh, for example.
No, I don't have any examples. Just I got this point in my mind, so I said it.
Okay. So first, let me explain. It's not only for transactions, and it's not used for storing transactions. And second, transactions are not only monetary transactions. From transactions, I also meant the data that you contain. And the third thing, it's not only for the purposes of enterprise. For example, let me give you a very good look in the future. So, what kind of future do you all expect in 10 years? What do you think will be the world like in 10 years? Give me answers.
I feel like blockchain is really good. Other than this bitcoins, it can be used in voting systems and all, because it's transparent and the data cannot be manipulated easily.
New Zealand, if we see, New Zealand has adapted blockchain for their voting system.
Yes, 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 yes. That's fine.
From this year, New Zealand has adopted blockchain for their voting systems. So, other than this, my question was, what do you think the future will be like in 10 years? You can give any answer from cars to planes to flying cars, anything that you want. I just need answers.
Excuse me, Bhaiya. I wanted to know that how is the data not manipulative in blockchain?
You see, every block contains that hash. You know, I told you that. So a block or a block can only be opened when you have the hash of all the transactions. Yes, and the hash of the block which you want to open is stored in the next block, and the chain goes on. So you, if you want to change the data or you want to amend the data in one block, you need to or you need to hack, which is basically you need to hack 51% of the blockchain network to hack it, or you could or to amend the data even in a single block. So it's not possible because you see you can't open 4 million blocks in 1 second because 1 second in 10 minutes you can't. It's not possible.
Got it, got it.
Okay. Data will be the most necessity in the coming future. AI everywhere in coming years. Awareness on blockchain. Yes, Devrat is very much right. And let me ask you one thing. If I go not very much into the technical stuff, what do you think about autonomous cars in 10 years? What do you think? Autonomous cars. I mean, like, have you all expected to see like there will be autonomous cars on roads? Autonomous cars and roads, no one would be driving them, and everything would be automatic. Like yes, every one of you has yes full autonomy. Uh, all of us would be on the back seat, and every car on the road will be driving on itself. Yes, you know. So I think almost everything will be legal. Okay, so uh, everyone has imagined it. So, what do you think? Will it be possible without blockchain to even use autonomous cars efficiently? Okay, let me explain why it is possible to do so, but it's not efficient to do so. Like you see, uh, AI is like it's compatible. I have made some projects in it. I have made firewalls with it, but it's like it can't be 100% secure, right? It's like you can make something accurate up to a certain amount. There's a certain threshold that you can't exceed. That maybe 90, 95, 99%. You can't be 100% sure with while using AI. Okay, so I expect nobody to have any doubts about it, like why it is not 100% accurate. Can be 100% accurate, right? So what happens is if we are using autonomous cars, like at today's time, we can't use blockchain in them because there are not much of a network right now. But if we in the future we have a network of cars that is traveling around, so what we can do is we can create the network of cars in a city, and for in the network, every turn a car takes and everything a car does can be recorded in a network and can be processed by the system to see if all the cars are moving in the correct way and no traffic or no accident happens, because everything would be stored as a data on a blockchain distributed ledger. So the cars would not crash into each other because every other car knows the location of every other car, and you might say it's not secure or it is not very good for the data to be stored on that database so that everyone can see. But that's the thing about blockchain. Nobody can see your data until you can decrypt it, and it's not possible to decrypt or change it. So you can prevent crashes and over speeding and everything. Life would be like so. There would be a reduction of huge amount of reduction in deaths in traffic accidents. But Tesla already does that. How Tesla does it is different. Tesla cars are doing accident, but if we use blockchain, there would be no accidents. Yes, that's also a good point. So we won't be having the need of traffic lights. And same thing we can use in planes, but air traffic is controlled in a different way. So these are things like this. And another thing, like we can say, blockchain has many use cases for many different industries. Like for energy consumption, every house has its own energy consumption. So we can in total create a system. We can create a system of a city, and we can thus identify and store and see the usage of electricity from a particular area, and thus we can recircuit our network. so we can conserve energy. It would save us a lot of energy and conserve a lot amount of energy than we can usually do without blockchain, because you have the data in the right place and you can process it. That's also a use case. And for if you want to see another use case, you can see banks are totally into blockchain, because with blockchain, banks would be so much secure and trustable than they are right now. For example, how many of you remember about demonetization? What happened in it? You all heard the news that what managers did, they exchanged the notes of the people with hefty money to, and gave them the new notes. So, and the normal class that is suffered because of it. Am I right in that? Yes. So if we had blockchain at that time, no manager would have even thought of doing it, because every penny or every rupee or paisa that would be transacted would have been on the ledgers. You see where it's going. It can stop corruption. Not stop it, but yes, it can reduce it to the very minimal that a country can have. Yes, that makes sense. And let's see, like for normal businesses, let's take a use case that happened in 2018, from when Walmart started using blockchain for its supply chain. What happened was, there was a lot of cabbages. Basically, there was a lot of celery, which was celery, or it was cabbage. It was something like that, which was rotten, or which was not good for eating. So what happened was, uh, it came to Walmart and people ate it, and people started getting nauseous and everything went bizarre. Hundreds of people weren't well. So what happened was, they weren't able to track down the farm the lot came from. It took them 7 days to do this. 7 days. And in that period, hundreds of people got sick, some of them died. So it was a tragedy. And this is a tragedy that can't be solved without blockchain. And after they implied blockchain in it, it's like, if the thing happens again, they can track down the lot in 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. Even if you take a bite from of a mango from the testing plate in a Walmart, you can track down from which farm it was took and at what time. So how does the blockchain sound right now? Like, after all these use cases and test cases. Obviously, it has a private blockchain network, because it can't have people lurking around in its network. Anyone? Anything else? And I want honest answers. What do you all think about blockchain? Like, after all we had discussed and everything, how can we learn blockchain? You can start by you can just take 1 or 2 Udemy courses, or you can just start by learning Ethereum. Like I told you, it's very easy to deploy Ethereum network. You can just YouTube it. You can make an Ethereum app or Ethereum network in about 1 hour, even 45 minutes from scratch. I mean, and if you all want, we can also do an hands-on workshop in which I will be telling you how to make a Ethereum network or blockchain network on screen. So you can all do on this. Are there any courses on Discord? Yes, see. I might have sent them on the resources, so you can check the previous messages around December and all. I have sent torrent links. You can check it out. Anything else anybody want to ask? But you should check out hands-on. Uh, you should check out Hyperledger project. It's quite good, and there is a special interest groups that is integrating capital market with blockchain. You see, the Wall Street has also started converging or integrating blockchain with their systems. So yes, it's a very good approach, and we will see about what we can do about hands-on workshop. And any does anyone have any other questions? Let me know. Okay, Aman, you can take over if they don't have any questions.
So everyone, you don't have any other questions for Divyansh regarding blockchain? No. Yeah, pretty much. So, well, like we don't actually have anything official to, like say and discuss. But, I would like to say that because of few people who actually requested for a blockchain session, right? So Divyansh especially came to deliver that. And moreover, like there's a thing, that is really going on nowadays. Like blockchain is of course hyped up, right? And with being hyped up, the thing is everyone is thinking that it's super hard, right? We can't even do it, or like it's not like other domains, right? But it's actually just a domain, which is just rather new. It's not anything complex once you try to understand it deeply, right? Now that's, I guess, Divyansh should also agree to, right, Divyansh? Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
bro.
Yeah.
It is not hard to catch on. It's like if you give it like you have to give time to something if you want to learn. If you give it 2 months, you would be on a very good level that you have a good understanding of how the things are doing and what are the protocols that we can use and how can we do such things in blockchain nowadays. Every other company is trying to integrate blockchain with them, so you have, and there is a deficiency of blockchain engineers, so you have good
Definitely.
opportunities in it.
So hopefully today you all got some sort of understanding regarding blockchain and its main component, right? And also where it is used, because like even I got to know so many new things that even I didn't know that like blockchain also can be used in this particular way, right? So again, there are also major topics that are going around right now regarding, of course, cryptocurrency investing, right? And like again, these are also hyped up topics that you should really understand about and learn about, right? And I guess Divyansh is also available on Discord server, our Discord servers. So if you need like his help, I guess he would ready to help you all. Any problem that might occur while you are studying. And he has posted quite a lot of resources on the resources channel. You might check it out, right? So I guess that was all, right? And we might actually conduct a like hands-on session. If like we might post a poll on the Discord, and if there are enough people who are actually interested in having a hands-on session, so we can also move forward with that. And if you have any other ideas for any other sessions that you may want, post us in the Discord server and we'll get back to you. So that was all. If you want to discuss or just as an open mics and like maybe talk about anything else, you can. And otherwise we all may leave.